What is up, bros? This is the All Bros podcast. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we are a couple of aspiring filmmakers that love to watch and critique movies. But
It's already turning into me.
yeah, right. Also enjoy... Rose, you freaking cut me off, man.
I'm sorry.
We enjoy a lot of bit of nerd life. This week on the podcast, we are joined by a couple very special guests. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure thing. My name's Scott Naar.
I'm Sarah Naar.
And we are also filmmakers.
Yeah.
Do you want us to talk a little bit about just us in general? Anything specific?
Just our name, right?
Just our name, or just our name? just our name works.
Yeah, we'll get into a deeper dive.
Sure.
Here in
Absolutely.
a second.
Absolutely.
But so this week on the podcast, we are going to be interviewing Sarah and Scott, talking about their endeavors and their projects and just getting to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we will be breaking down Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Let's go.
So
Awesome.
yeah. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Hello, my name is Brooker, and I want to talk to you about my fun horror podcast called Autopsy of a Horror Movie. Each week, I will talk about a different horror movie through one or two ways. Either a kill grade episode, where I come up with a cool rubric to grade the kills in each movie. I'll talk about the style, the method, and how impactful it was on me. At the end of the episode, I'll rank all the kills and tell you which ones are my favorite and which ones I thought sucked. I do also like to get a little academic with the movies and do more of what I call a horror review. I will talk about what was good, what was bad, what types of psychological fears the movie plays off of, and what I thought was the scariest part of the movie, while also throwing in some interpretation and wacky theories for the movie. You can find my podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, and new episodes come out on Tuesdays. Also, if you're a YouTube fan, these episodes are made available 48 hours early on my YouTube channel at Autopsy of a Horror Movie. Please be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at BruckerHorror, or email me at bruckerhorror@gmail.com to let me know your thoughts and interpretations, or if you have a movie request you'd like for me to do. Please rate, review, and subscribe, and I hope you get to enjoy the show.
Alrighty, like we said, we're going to be interviewing Sarah and Scott. So, you two, want to give us a little intro to you guys, who you are and what you do?
I'm going to let you do it.
Okay. Yes. Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for having us. We are a filmmaking duo. We're out here in California. We're in Los Angeles. And I guess a bit of our background, Scott is from Jamaica originally and moved to the U.S. for college and then stuck around, and then I married him, and now he's never leaving. And I am from Delaware, which is nowhere near as exotic as Jamaica, but close. And before I met Scott, I was in New York working as a writer and doing comedy, which is soul-crushing and difficult and awful. And so I decided to move to sunny Florida and go to grad school for film, and that's where I met Scott, and we kind of paired up right away making films together, and we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. I went to school in Chicago originally, pursuing music. I was doing jazz music up there. Eventually pivoted, wanted to do film by the time I was like 19, because I was like a big film buff and I just enjoyed it. And I said, you know what, I'm going to try my hand at this directing thing. And I went to two film schools in Florida, made a bunch of short films. Like Sarah said, met her at University of Miami, made some more short films with her. And my short films got better once we combined forces. And then we started making our short films. Yes. And ended up, we in 2019 packed up our bags and moved out to LA in the summer of 2019. And here we are now.
That is awesome.
Couple goals right there. That's all I'm gonna say.
We try. We really
We try-
are.
we try.
You know? We're just like the best of friends. We work together. We live together. It's just anything you could want.
Yeah, we do it all. Yeah. Yeah, so now we're out here. We're since we've been out here, we did a short film. Pretty much as soon as we got here, we did a short film. And that was an experience dealing with the film LA people out here. They're more rigid than they are. The film commission people out here are more rigid than they are in Miami, so that was an experience. And then, of course, COVID hit, so we couldn't do any more shorts, so we just started writing features together, primarily horror films. So to date, now we've, in terms of our writing that we've done together, we've written 2 features that we're trying to shop around the town right now, and crossing our fingers that stuff comes of it soon. So yeah.
That is awesome. We wrote down some questions for you, so we'll just bounce back and forth. So Rose, you want to hit them with your first one?
I feel this is kind of a basic question. Everyone asks this to a filmmaker. What got you into filmmaking? Both of you.
You want to go, or do you want me to?
Yeah, you can answer.
I hope I don't sound pretentious. When I was like a kid, like I realized I just had like a love for just like stories. Primarily through like video games, because I was a huge gamer as a kid, and I still am. But like when I was a kid, like that was kind of my introduction to like storytelling. Like when it came to like shows, I mainly watched like your fun cartoons. But like when it came to like grand stories about grand things, it all came from gaming. And eventually, I started watching movies with my dad, because he's a huge film buff, and he showed me like all the classics like Lawrence of Arabia, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I just like fell in love with like film completely when I was like a teenager. And like I said, I was originally a musician. I wanted to do music. I wanted to play in a band. And I came up to the US to pursue music. But it was in my sophomore year of college. I was like, my roommate was like, oh, I'm going to make a movie. Because I started this class where it was like a low-level film class where, the assignments is to make movies. And I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And he was like, yeah, they rent cameras here on campus. I was like, what? I didn't know that. Like, I would, that's awesome. So I went out, got a camera, and tried my hand at making my first ever, I don't want to call it short film, but let's just call it narrative home movie. And it was actually that's
actually a really good way to describe it. It's an experience.
Yeah. My first ever video, I'll say, was it was called Son of Nosferatu, because I was a huge fan of the Universal horror movies. So I made a vampire movie, and I played the vampire in it, actually.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spoiler alert. Yeah. It was all on like a point and shoot camera. I didn't do any lighting. My roommates were the actors. It was pretty crude, but that like was my first foray into it. And then, even from that, as kind of crappy as it was, I just fell in love with doing it. Like I just loved it. And when I moved to Florida, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to film school. And that's where it kind of just started for me. I started making short films constantly. In film school, people would always say like, oh, you make so much short films, like here, like I only do them for class assignments. And I'm like, that's a mistake, because we have all this equipment for rental whenever we want. Like rent equipment and make something. I made stuff constantly, and that's just kind of blossomed from there. Yeah. Yeah, that's it for me. How about you?
I've always been a writer. I've always been a very imaginative child. I was very odd as a kid, didn't have a lot of friends, mostly because I was just more interested in like my imaginary friends. So my parents, true story, my mom took me to the doctor because she thought that something was wrong with me. Yep. And she was like, she doesn't talk, she doesn't do anything, she just sits and writes all the time. And the doctor was like, yeah, she's just creative. Like, what do you mean, what's wrong with her? So from there, my parents were a little more supportive. But that's the only thing I'm good at doing is writing. So I've done it in different capacities. I did journalism for a little bit, then I was like, this is not for me. Moved into sketch comedy, and just kind of fell into filmmaking a little bit by necessity. Like digital shorts were really hot at that time in the comedy world. So just from making, I guess, mini short films and like commercial parodies and stuff with my sketch comedy group, that's kind of how I started working with a camera more, and then was like, oh, I kind of like this, and this feels a little more, somehow more sustainable than comedy is filmmaking. Not sure how much.
I'm not sure about that,
but a little bit. We're a little better off now. So yeah, I just kind of went into it from there. Got to film school and was like, we had my first assignment was to shoot a music video, and I rented a camera and was like, oh, I don't know how to work this. So immediately called Scott and was like, hey, you want to shoot this for me? And then just kind of fell into the producing role from there, because I was like, I'm much better at telling people what to do than doing it myself.
But like we actually we met officially on one of my films, on a short film I was doing called Nightscapes, which was like a retro wave crime drama a la Drive, you know, like, and like Only God Forgives. We met on there. Yeah, you were my PA for one night. Out of 6.
This guy is a horrible, horrible person. No, I'm just kidding. It was a mess, though.
It was a mess. I needed a producer, but I'm a director through and through. I can't produce to save my life. So, like, so yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So would you guys say that your personality types kind of complement each other with the different roles that you need to play?
I think so. I'm definitely the more organized, and I like to think of myself as a creative producer, because I'm still a writer first and foremost, and I am a creative person, but I just enjoy administrative tasks. I enjoy organizing. I enjoy budgeting. I just like bringing the whole project together more than I enjoy kind of sitting down and envisioning one aspect or one, color schemes. And I always say, and it's not just because, we're together, but as a partnership, Scott truly is a visionary. And so he does make it easy to work with as a producer, because he knows exactly what he wants. And that's really, it really suits his personality being a director, because he's very able to
artistic chaos.
Yeah.
That's what I am. I'm artistic chaos.
But you're able to create worlds, even as a writing partnership. I will say that for us as writing partners, we did butt heads a little bit. It probably took us a year to a year and a half to kind of get our groove, because we both have ideas and we both are strong writers and passionate about the things that we want to write. So it took us a while to find our groove there. But even with that, once we kind of leaned into, okay, I'm better at writing dialogue sometimes. Everything is sometimes. There's always exceptions, of course. But I'm better at dialogue. You're better at creating worlds, coming up with stories and the twists and turns and stuff like that. And so just kind of leaning into each other's strengths instead of trying to fight to be the alpha. Yeah. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she said it all. I have none to add.
No. All right, Rose.
Wait, what?
Oh, or you want me to ask another one?
I mean, however you want to do it. Do you want to go back and forth, or do you want one person reads their whole list, the other person?
We can go back and forth.
Cool.
Okay. You can tell how well we plan this in advance.
Okay.
Wait,
us too.
This is literally our. Actually, this is our first interview.
Oh,
that's awesome.
I was gonna say, well, okay, technically second, but the first one that we did was she wasn't able to make it, so we had to sent her a list of questions, and then she answered them, and so we just read them.
Well, we're honored to be your first officials,
and it's going great. These are good questions.
Absolutely.
Okay, phew. Wait, aren't you going killed next?
Wait, okay, yeah.
Come on, man.
We'll get into the swing of this.
Eventually.
So what dictates, or for you guys, what kind of dictates what kind of stories you want to tell? I know your last short, or the short film that you want us to break down, which we haven't yet, but I haven't decided when it's going to come out yet.
That's cool. That's cool.
which we watched, and just got to say, love it. And
Awesome.
I know that
Thank you.
one's a horror movie
Yes.
or a horror film, and then the next one I think you said was also going to be
Also
horror.
yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what kind of is that? Just kind of the genre that you lean towards, or
As of right now, because the thing, like, we're trying to play the game in Hollywood well, and that means, like, what I mean by that is, like, Hollywood, when it comes to picking genres to option and sell to make into movies, horror is the most picked up one.
It's profitable. It's easier to make a profit because they're cheap to produce, and they turn a big profit because there's a huge fan base. There's always an audience for it.
And also, you don't need big name actors for it either, and people will still go see it because watching a horror film is like the same as going to like an amusement park. You know, it's like fun. Yeah, and like
or terrifying if you hate
or terrifying, yeah.
But the analogy still works.
But at the same time, though, you know, we try to lean towards more of the what they call, I guess, the elevated horror, or another word I actually learned the other day, misery horror, where we combine elements of like really like powerful dramas with horror. So like movies that are kind of like, you know, movies like The Witch or Rosemary's Baby or Hereditary, where it's like they're pretty much like drama films with horror tones inserted. And that's kind of what we're leading into, because we feel like that's kind of like where, in terms of like what's like really playing and what people are celebrating and giving accolades to, is like those elevated horror movies. And they're also making money too. That's they're not just getting the accolades, they're also making the money. So,
but the funny thing about that is it's what we've always enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
So like for my whole life, I've been watching horror movies. Like my mom, we had a trailer at the beach, and whenever we would spend summers there and whenever it would be a rainy day, my mom would just rent horror movies. And so I've been traumatized from a very young age. And but I've always loved, like, I've been obsessed with horror, and Scott too. It's something that we bonded over when we first started, you know, working together.
I'm a horror maniac.
But I was still doing more comedy, and Scott was doing drama,
straight drama. Yeah,
mostly white people crying.
Yeah,
how I categorized his films before we started working together. But we just kind of had a revelation. It was Scott who said it, actually. Like one day we're like, why don't we just write horror? Like that's what we both know and love. It has all of these advantages. It's not easy to write, but it does, you know, in terms of producing and whatnot, all the things that we just said, it's easier in some ways to produce, and it's just a really great genre. So we're like, we should be leaning into this because it's kind of just, it falls into the write what you know. You know?
Yeah.
And we know
horror. We watch a lot of horror. Yeah. Yeah. And it really just like I said, like for me at least, like with, you know, like with the horrors that we write, like it that's, you know, like that's why I like it. Cause it's like the drama is in there and the horror, and it feels like it's not just a slasher film or a possession film. It's the core of the story is a familial conflict or a relational conflict. And then the horror is kind of like on the outskirts, but it's like there and it affects them. But the core of it, the core like kind of thing that's like rocking the story is like a conflict between two people or multiple people or whatever. So that's kind of like what we like to do, what we like to write, and the direction we're going. At least for now, obviously, once we break through the door of Hollywood, we'll branch out, you know, do more genres, do straight up dramas, do straight up comedies, sci-fi, whatever, you know, like I love every genre. There's not a single genre of film that I don't like watching. So like, want to do it all. Yeah.
That's awesome. So would you say that, like, or for Sarah, you said you used to write comedy. Do you think that helps a lot with your horror writing?
I do think that having a background in comedy helps with horror writing to a certain degree, because with comedy, you really have to think on your feet. And I mentioned before, my strength as a writer is definitely dialogue. in fact, some of my other areas are a lot weaker. I can have pages and pages of just two people talking, and then Scott will be like, but are they doing anything? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So
just fly off.
But I do think that that comedy background has served me well, because for me, and I was a performer as well, everything that I write, I wanted it to feel natural when I said it. So, and especially with comedy, because there has to be some grounding in reality, even if what you're saying is completely ridiculous. So there was always an element of, okay, but I need this, even if I'm saying something totally outlandish, or I'm writing something that is like realistically doesn't make sense, it still needs to feel like something that someone would actually say. And so I feel like that's helped me as a writer and in the horror genre, because it's helped me understand the characters more. So to kind of put myself in those situations and feel like I can write from a place of, I understand that this is how I would respond as a human, and here's how I can translate that to another character. And working in comedy is horrifying and terrifying. So
right.
I think that a lot of my comedy, funny enough, was rooted in horror, and like I did a show called like Deepest Fears and stuff like that. So I think that those two just kind of lend themselves to one another. Humor is a great processing tool, so it's a great tool to have in a horror film as like a bit of relief, or a bit of like a breath, a bit of grounding sometimes.
Right.
That's very true.
Follow up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you've listened to any of our like horror movie breakdowns before, but we have very strong feelings about this.
Okay.
What do you guys think of jump scares?
They're fun sometimes, but when they're oversaturated, it's terrible. Like, I hate them. But I think the best horror movies don't have jump scares.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best horror movies have very minimal jump scares. Not no jump scares, because you have to have some in there. Like a studio will be like, we need some jump scares in there, because that's what the general audience likes. But I think that the better horror movies, the more the ones that are being celebrated now, are pretty minimal. They're slow burn horror movies, you know.
I think they're good in moderation, but it's like, funny enough, we're just talking about this, or I was just writing about this for an article about that show on Netflix, Haunted, and it's like literally all jump scares.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting as an audience member, because you're just like, oh my God, like I can't relax. And then after a certain point, like with a series or even a film, it's just like, I'm not scared anymore, because I already know what you're going to do, and I'm on to you, and now I'm just over it, and I'm tired, and I don't want to do this. So I think they're more effective the less they're used.
Yeah.
All right, then we definitely see eye to eye on that.
Okay, good. I was nervous doing my, like, watching, looking for a response.
You two get
like one of the most common thing we say when a movie's like that is just we like our movies to earn their jump scares.
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
I think that's a great way of putting it. Like, I don't mind a good jump scare. Like, it can really be a good time, and like if they get you, like that's a great. Like, I always find myself laughing after, because I'm like, oh, there you go, so fun.
Yeah,
but it only feels like that when it's earned.
Yeah. All right, Rose.
Okay. Were there any hardships in making? I'm gonna refer to Umbra. Were there any hardship? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Umbra. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we touched on it. Yeah, we touched on it a little earlier. Dealing with Film LA was pretty rough, because they had us. We shot in.
Wait, don't say that, because then they might never let us make another movie.
Well, all right. Well, all right. Let me say.
But I think everyone would probably agree it's a little rough.
We shot in at Bronson Cave, which is where they shot Batman. So there was a lot of rules and regulations for shooting there. Like we had to hire 2 security guards. Mm-hmm. We had to
rent a porta potty.
It was
which
very
then was
expensive.
Open to the public to use, which really hurt my soul, because I was like, I'm not paying for this for like everybody. Like, this is just for us.
Yeah,
but they didn't care.
Yeah. Huh. Exactly.
Yeah.
That was kind of the main thing. You have anything else?
Yeah. I would say that it was different. It was difficult. even the working with the permits office, it was difficult in part because it was our first production that we hadn't been students, and so we didn't have permits easily handed to us, insurance given to us, so there were some definite budget concerns where we were like, wait, it costs how much to insure a project? Like, what is happening? So we had to kind of get creative there. And then, I mean, we filmed the whole thing in 2 nights outside, and we only had 6 hours each night. Yeah, because we had no money, and it was so expensive to pay for the rental of the cave, to have the security. Like, it was just so much, and we had so few hands on set. It was literally myself, Scott, our cinematographer Alex, and then 2 PAs, and that was it. And we're filming in this whole, I was producing, doing art, doing makeup, I did costumes, I was doing sound. That's why we had to ADR the whole thing, because I messed up the sound. Like, it was just so much. And being outside in the dark, there were, how could he, like, have forgotten about this part? Like, outside, there's rattlesnakes, there's coyotes. Like, we had this security guard with us who we thought was like a park ranger who was going to be helping and protect us against the wildlife, and he basically showed up and was like, hey, if I see a snake, I'm out. And we're like, what do you mean? We thought you were going to keep the snakes away.
It was crazy.
It was a mess. So just the stress of having so few resources and such little time, rather.
Yeah.
And really, like, it was anytime we needed to move, it was all of us, like, carrying things on our backs, like, just really physically intense.
Yeah.
And just kind of overall very stressful and, I would say, unpleasant shoot, just for those reasons. Outside of that, the cast was so great. They were so
great
pleasant to work
cast.
with.
Yeah, it was a time in that vast area.
Yeah.
We had minimal crew. You probably mentioned this. Yeah, it was a time, but we pulled through. It was the dirtiest we've ever been.
Oh, filthy.
We were filthy, like disgusting, like afterwards. But
because there was also a fire at the same time, so we were filming, and we're sitting in the cave, and we're going, wow, it's so warm for being nighttime in November. Like, wow, probably made a like global warming comment, whatever. And then we start joking because we're like, it smells like barbecue. Guess Brad Pitt's having a barbecue up the hill, like in his mansion up there. And then we were like, is that a fire? Like,
yeah.
It was just pretty much anything and everything you could imagine.
Also, a helicopter showed up at one point, and we're like searching for a fugitive. They were searching for a fugitive.
So we didn't know if we were going to get shut down for both of those reasons, like the fire and the fact that there was a police search. Some random guy like crashed the set because he was just hiking in the middle of the night.
At 10 p.m.
What?
It was really strange. Yeah. It was a time, though. It was a time. It was a time.
Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Thank you.
We're like, is this the fugitive that they're looking for? Like, if we hear of any missing persons on the news tomorrow, we like tried to remember every detail we could about the guy.
Exactly. But, yeah, I mean,
pretty standard film set.
Finished it. That's all that matters.
Jeez, that's a lot.
It was. I've been a bit reluctant to go back to set since then. So for our next film, it definitely took a lot of convincing for Scott to be like, don't you want to make another movie? And I'm like, are you crazy? Do you remember what happened the last time?
Quick question: how much were they charging you to rent the cave?
That's a question for her, Miss Producer.
I think all in all, to rent the cave for both nights with the security guards, it was like $1,500.
Oh,
yeah, which was like more than half of our budget.
Yeah, which isn't, look, for a lot of productions and a lot of small short films, especially, like they have budget. Like, you don't hear of a lot of short films that get, festival circulation and whatever that are done for less than $5,000 or even $10,000, even more sometimes. We know people who have spent $100,000 on a short film, but for us, we don't have it like that. And we always are working on a very micro budget. And so our whole budget was only $2,500, $3,000, and that was because we had to put some extra of our own in at the end
because of the location.
Yeah, because of the location and everything. So for us, $1,500 for 2 nights for only to be able to film a total of 12 hours was a really big deal.
That's
insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
It was nuts.
It was crazy. It was very stressful because then you want everything else. You don't want the rest of the production to suffer because most of your budget is just going towards logistics.
Yeah.
You know, like of course we would have rented a toilet anyway. That actually wasn't even expensive. That was only like $75 a day. It was great, but. When most of what you're paying for is just to be able to film in the first place, it's hard because you can't pay actors, you can't get a lot of like art and production design that we would have wanted, and we really had to kind of bootleg a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of what we did with so little, but it was hard.
It was tough. But we did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah, and again, spoilers for whenever that comes out, it paid off. Like,
yeah,
thanks.
It was
tremendously.
Thank you so much.
It's
Thank you. It's
all
out.
the acting.
It's out. It's out right now.
Yeah,
It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
They don't. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. My bad.
Okay.
I don't know if you sent them a private link.
No, sorry. I gave you the same link everybody else gets.
That's fine. We just appreciate getting anything.
Yeah.
So do we. So.
That's kind of how our whole show is. It's just like, I mean, even with how long we've been doing this, it's just like, hey, we're not at zero.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Yep.
look, we all are starting at some point, and then it's like, I think it is important, even though we all here have like bigger goals and aspirations, obviously, it's still important to recognize like
the little wins.
The small wins along the way, you know?
Like, I think we racked up to 5,000 some views on Umbra on YouTube, and that's like, to us, that's a huge achievement.
Yeah.
Like, because they're completely organic. We
really
made
pushed it.
Instagram posts, but that's kind of it. Like, we didn't pay for any marketing for it or anything. It just kind of organically grew from 0 to 5,700. So that's a pretty nice win, we think, you know? So we take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very, very solid win.
Take them where you can get them.
Gotta do it for the, even for the psyche. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Oh. Well, I think you answered a majority of the questions I had. So, Rose,
Cool.
did you have any others?
Yeah, it was like the same thing for me, but I mean, I think this one can still work. Where do you two see yourselves as filmmakers in 5 years, 10 years? You can kind of choose which one you want to answer.
Well, we're hoping in
7.
we're hoping in the next few months to get a option for our horror script that will hopefully get picked up and made, and then we're working on another horror script that we're going to shop. And I know we're speaking like pretty short term, but if we're talking like 5 years, we hope to be like pretty much like in the game, like fully making feature films that are being shown in theaters. You know, we don't like being super minimalist about our goals. We stay them straight up. Like, no, we want, you know, we don't want like, oh, you know, it's okay if we just have like a movie that shows. No, we want we want it in AMC's, in Regals, nationwide, big distribution deals, the whole 9 yards, like award ceremonies. And is it lofty? Sure, but you know what? Like, you know, you got to be lofty. Like,
I feel
you know,
like film and television and entertainment can be such a, I guess to use your word, a lofty dream anyway, that it's like, well, if you're going to do it at all,
if you're going to go for it,
why not go for it all?
Because I always say, like, you know, like I would have just done something that gave me a lot of money, you know, but like, you know, if I was just going to like not go the distance with it, you know, if I was just going to like make an indie film here and there, put it up.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not bashing that at all. It's just that that's not what we want. We want the full yard. We want the full the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You know, we're not humble with our goals. If that, you know, we want we're gonna
Kanye this shit.
Yeah, like we're gonna Kanye this shit. You know, we're gonna be completely like
Let's do it.
Going there with it, utter and complete ambition. So yeah, that's kind of the 5.
I think that's definitely
10-year thing.
It's definitely an industry that you need to be like.
You
that,
have to
have that attitude.
You have to, because if you don't, then I don't think you're ever you'll get somewhere, and it's okay. We met a lot of people who they wanted to go to distance, but we're like, hey, but if I do this thing here, that's okay. I'll start a production company. Mm-hmm. We don't want to do that. We don't want to start a production company. We do, but like we want to.
It just never worked. That route for us, it's so funny because like we do have a lot of friends we went to film school with who have since started production companies, which is, I guess, the film school backup. I don't know. But we've tried to do that. We've tried the freelancing thing.
When we first moved out here, because when we first moved out here, we were pretty broke. So like, yeah.
We moved out here and had literally zero money. And then we got here and we're like, why? What did we just do?
Yeah. So
it was too late. We were locked into a lease.
We tried our hand, but it just didn't really work out.
But it seems like for us, when we've only had like marginal success, the marginal success that we've had only when we've done big and outlandish things like make a short film, or which isn't even that big, but it's just like you keep going. When we've continued on in this, like we're only doing this, we're only gonna keep going if we're writing and producing and directing, and we're not gonna be editors on the side, and then that turns into our full-time gig. It never works out for us anyway. So it's like, well, I guess we just have no choice but to freaking hustle and make it happen.
We don't really want that. We don't really want to just like fall into like a low level thing, because like I said before, if I was going to do that, I would, I don't know, gone into like business or something. I don't know, or like be a lawyer or something.
Way less taxing on your psyche.
Way less taxing on your psyche, and
then just had our own different struggles.
Like our philosophy is, go, all or nothing. Yeah. There's no plan B. It's film, pro level filmmaking or bust. Like, so
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell my parents that too, and they're like, "You sure you don't want me?" I'm like, "Nope."
Raise your hands if your parents have tried to convince you to go into entertainment law.
Yeah, maybe you should try entertainment law. That's kind of the same thing. No, it's not.
I'm not a lawyer. They're like, that doesn't matter. That's the only thing that matters. You have to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that brings up a question for me, and feel free to not answer if this is like personal, but how do you guys like, are you like living off of the income from your short films, or are you doing something to supplement?
No, we have full-time jobs.
We do have day jobs. We have day jobs. We actually got paid for 2 of our shorts that we did in the past, 2 dramas. They were my second and third year films at UM. We got paid. I got a distribution deal on Shorts TV, which is pretty cool. So those 2 films are showing on DirecTV right now and on AT&T Uverse. But shameless plug right there. But
I was just thinking that. I was like, oh, yeah, sounds like a plug. I know.
But yeah, I mean, no, we have day jobs. Like we said, we came here. We were trying to freelance thing. We just weren't getting it. Living in LA is expensive. It's just, we always say we don't want to be starving artists.
No, we like eating so much.
We like eating and we like comfort. Like,
we really do.
We're a little too bougie, so we're not really willing to like sacrifice that stuff. So we just try and find a good balance of like, okay, we do our day job, but then when we're not, or even during our day jobs, I mean, all the time, like I'm sneaking away and like doing stuff for our careers, like all the time at my job.
No, you're not.
That sounds bad, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's true.
Maybe cut that part out.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've always wondered that, because it's just like you hear so many people talking about like, oh, this is like, it sounds like that's like all they do is doing like the short films or just films in general, and I'm like, I don't know, chasing your dreams is kind of expensive.
Yeah, that's a great point. I do wish that people would talk about that more. Like even people who've worked in restaurants and have like side gigs like that. Like I cocktail waitress for most of my 20s, and to fund my life in New York and then my life in Miami. And it's like, I hate that there's kind of this stigma around like, well, if you have to have a job, then you haven't made it yet as a filmmaker. And it's like, but I'm making films. Like when we're doing stuff. We're hustling. We're grinding. But I got a job when I was in grad school, and it was like really looked down upon. Like, oh, how do you have time for that? And like, if you're honest with yourself, you're not making films 40 hours a week. Like,
No.
you're making them when you're in production, and of course pre-production and post and everything, but it's like, you have time. Like, there's time. And no, of course, do I want a day job? No, I want my day job to be making films, and we both do, but I don't think there's any shame in supporting your hustle and not, you know,
trying your best not to be the star of an artist, because that's no
and
fun.
The lengths that people go to in this industry, and so many actors that we know who are working 2-3 jobs, and it's just, I respect it so much, because it's like, this is something that you're passionate about enough to the fact that you're willing to make this like literally your 4th job, because this is a job, but you know, you're doing so many other things to make sure that you can still have this as part of your life, and I think that's cool. Like,
yeah.
And also, if you want to have a nice, comfy life while you're waiting
that's
to pop,
okay.
then that's okay
That's
too.
okay.
You're not a sellout. You just don't want to live in a dungeon.
Yeah. Or,
I've already lived in plenty of
or a
basement
shoebox or a closet.
Yeah.
You know, we hear a lot about the whole, like, oh, George Clooney, he lived in a closet. Like,
I'm not living in a closet. I'm 6'1".
But I feel like most filmmakers don't do that. No. Like, I've never met a filmmaker who was like, I don't know, like, I'm living in a closet. Like, it's like...
It's a different era.
It's a different era, yeah.
It's more expensive.
Yeah.
George Clooney's closet would still be $2,000 a month now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I think that covers anything I had to ask. Rose?
Yeah, I think I'm good. Thank you for answering those.
Of course. Thank you for asking them.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Great questions.
All right. Well, I think we can move on over to the breakdown now.
Let's
do
it.
Let's go and do that. Alrighty, so first up, we actually asked a question of the week. I forgot about that. Whoops. So not first up.
Did we actually get any responses? I didn't see any on Instagram.
We got a couple.
Were any on Instagram?
Yeah, we got one on Instagram. I think we got another on Twitter. And if I was better at planning, I would have remembered to pull this up before.
Oh, man.
That's okay.
Jeez. Nope, not that one. Jeez, just opened the same notification.
Caleb.
All right, so the question of the week that we posted, we asked regarding Zack Snyder's Justice League. What did you think of the Snyder Cut, and was it an improvement? And we got a response from the homie at Casual520. He said, improvement, yes, but it's hard not to with 4 hours. Or it's hard, yeah.
Fair.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
The 4 hours is a big selling point for everyone.
It was rough.
For sure.
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to argue with him.
Yeah,
I don't think any movie has any business being 4 hours.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it has to be like a really solid movie.
Yeah, it has to be like Lord of the Rings level, which this was not.
We all know Snyder just wanted to beat the Russo brothers with runtime. I think that's why he made it 4 hours.
Yeah, the Russo brothers did it better, though. Way better.
Oh, yes, they did. And then over on Instagram, we got a response from the Ex-Wife podcast. They said, huge improvement. It was a totally different movie and has so much more character development. I wanted a sequel at the end, which is nowhere near how I felt after Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
That's clever.
Yeah, definitely.
Get it?
Oh yeah.
So those are the only two responses that we got.
Hey, for how late
Awesome.
that we posted that, I'm pretty impressed that we got 2.
I am too.
Congrats.
Yay.
Yeah, I think we posted it last night.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because Caleb, what was it? Caleb texted me at like 10 o'clock at night. He's like, "Shit, I forgot to send you this."
Oops. It happens.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I think my wife said something. She's just like, "Oh, just start talking about something," and then brought up question, and I was like, "Oh shit."
Oh no.
Oh man,
Like we had something to do.
whoopsie.
Yeah, which sucks because I put a freaking reminder on my phone and everything.
Oh, I hate when that
Oh,
happens.
man.
Good.
I think
job,
I
Caleb.
I saw it and then I ignored it, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll remember later."
Oh man.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for answering our question of the week. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Now getting into the breakdown. If you are new to our breakdown system, we have split movies into 8 different categories that we individually grade to come to a final Allbros / Super Astra
Yeah, buddy.
letter grade. And then it gives us a percentage and everything, and like I said, it gives us a schoolhouse grade. So the 8 categories that we score are story, writing, acting, character development, effects, music, costumes, and then we give it our own personal grade at the very end. So, without further ado, Rose is about to spoil the entire 4-hour movie for us. So if you have not seen it, you've been warned and it's your own damn fault.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm gonna apologize up front if I do mess any of this up. I'll crack under pressure, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have a Reading with Rose segment, and it's spelled with 2 E's.
Reading like a
Oh,
reed
man.
from a river.
Exactly.
Crisis averted. My laptop almost restarted on me.
Oh no.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Alright. Thousands of years ago, Darkseid and his parademons attempted to conquer Earth using the Mother Boxes after learning that Earth harbored the anti-life equation. The attempt was foiled by a unified alliance of old gods, Amazons, Atlanteans, humanity, and a Green Lantern. After the battle, the boxes were hidden in different locations, guarded by the Amazons, Atlanteans, and humanity, respectively. In the present, Superman's death triggers the box's reactivation, attracting Steppenwolf, Darkseid's disgraced lieutenant, to Earth. Steppenwolf aims to regain Darkseid's favor by gathering the boxes to form the Unity, which would terraform Earth in the likeliness of their world apocalypse. Steppenwolf retrieves a mother box from Themyscira, prompting Queen Hippolyta. Is it Hippolyta? Or is it Hippolyta? Wow, I'm already screwing this up. Hippolyta. I forgot that's what it was. Wow. Hippolyta to warn her daughter Diana Prince. Diana receives the message and learns of the events related to Darkseid and Steppenwolf. She informs Bruce Wayne. Bruce and Diana seek to form a team of metahumans to protect Earth. Bruce locates Arthur Curry and Barry Allen, while Diana locates Victor Stone. Barry joins immediately, while Arthur and Victor refuse. However, Victor joins after his father Silas and several other Star Labs employees are kidnapped by parademons seeking the humans' mother box. Steppenwolf attacks an Atlantean outpost to retrieve their box, forcing Arthur into action. The team receives intel from Gotham City Police Commissioner James Gordon, leading them to Steppenwolf's army in an abandoned facility under Gotham Harbor. Although the group rescues the kidnapped employees, the facility is flooded during combat, trapping the team until Arthur helps delay the flood so they can escape. Victor retrieves the last mother box, which he has hidden, for the group to analyze. Victor realizes that Silas used the box to rebuild his body after a car accident and that the boxes are change machines that unfalteringly enforce the will of their master, destroying or restoring to life without bias. The group decides to use the box to resurrect Superman to help fight Steppenwolf. Barry and Victor exhume Superman's body and place it in the amniotic fluid of the Genesis chamber in a Kryptonian ship kept in Star Labs. After Barry activates the mother box, an Insomniac Superman is resurrected, immediately attacking the group after Victor's cybernetics target him in self-defense. Lois Lane arrives just in time to calm Superman, preventing him from killing Bruce. Together, Lois and Superman leave for his family home in Smallville, where he regains his memories and reunites with his mother, Martha. Steppenwolf attacks Star Labs and retrieves the last mother box, though Silas manages to supercharge the box with his laser heat at the cost of his own life, allowing Victor to track it by tracing the heat. Without Superman, the 5 heroes travel to where Steppenwolf aims to unite the boxes. The team fights their way through the parademons to reach the boxes, but cannot distract Steppenwolf enough for Victor to separate them. Superman arrives and overpowers Steppenwolf, but the boxes merge to form the Unity, causing a massive explosion. Barry enters the Speed Force and reverses time, allowing Superman and Victor to separate the boxes. The heroes kill Steppenwolf and toss his body through a portal to Apocalypse. Darkseid assures his servant Desaid? Desaad? I actually didn't even know he had a name.
Yeah, Desaad, yeah. Weird name.
He will return to Earth to complete his quest for the anti-life equation. After the battle, Bruce, Diana, and Alfred Pennyworth agree to set up a base of operations at the former Wayne Manor. As the team establishes, Diana receives another message from the Amazons. Barry acquires a job in the Central City's police department, which impresses his father Henry. Victor is inspired by a message from his father to use his abilities for good. Arthur bids farewell to Mara and his mentor Nuidus Volko as he goes to see his father, and Superman resumes his life as reporter Clark Kent and as protector of Earth. Lex Luthor, who escaped from Arkham Asylum, is visited by Slade Wilson, to whom Luthor reveals Batman's secret identity. After having a vision involving Victor, Barry, Mara, Wilson, the Joker, and an evil Superman in a post-apocalyptic world, Bruce receives a visit from the Martian Manhunter, who previously visited Lois disguised as Martha. He thanks Bruce for assembling the team before saying they will be in contact in preparation for Darkseid's next plans. Whew.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
I mean, thank you. I mean, I messed up a couple times.
Truly.
It's not my worst. It's not my worst.
You did a great job, man.
Honestly, that's better than I could have done, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this
Okay.
story is a big improvement upon the Joss Whedon version. And we gave it, or me and Rose ended up giving it like in the high 80s.
Okay.
So you two.
Now, I have a question, though. Is this based on your scores? Were they based on the improvement from the original, or as a separate story?
No, this is like its own entity. We
Okay.
we try our best not to compare movies to how they are in like a group or as a whole, or unless it's like it just works that way in like with Avengers Endgame. Like you can't say how good Avengers Endgame is without looking back at some of the others. But this one, it was supposed to be like this. we looked at this like it was the movie we were supposed to get after Batman versus Superman.
Okay, fair enough.
Because we'd never
I've
seen,
never seen it, yeah.
the 2017 one, so this is just Justice League for us.
Yep.
This isn't like the
Really?
Snyder cut. This was just
No.
Justice League. Yeah, I avoided the first one like the plague because I thought it would suck. So like
Smart. Very smart.
Well,
Very,
you
very
weren't
smart.
wrong.
No.
I just avoided it because, I mean, as whatever as it sounds, I just wasn't into comic book movies at the time. But
yeah,
now,
I got her into it.
yes, now I am fully in. But I have not seen the
Disney Plus is the sauce.
Yes.
All right, Disney Plus is the sauce.
Oh, absolutely. So knowing that actually justifies your scores a little bit. So
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes me feel a bit better.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Little. And I probably have the most critical score.
Yeah,
I'm gonna figure.
Really mean. I thought I was being mean.
I am very critical with like
everything.
especially movies. I'm like really critical. If I love them, I love them.
actually, when it comes to story, Sarah was actually the harshest on
Was
it.
I?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that at when the time comes.
Well, that's just in the story category. Overall,
Sure.
I'm not
I'm so
quite
sorry.
sure.
There is a train.
I think it kind of evens out.
Oh, okay, we're all kind of on the same page.
Yeah, but if you average all of our scores out together, it comes to a 74.25.
Okay.
All right.
That's not bad.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
This is honestly
like,
actually like
even-
on Rotten Tomato territory, so this is actually like perfect.
cool.
Okay. So we kind of have the same opinions. Oops, sorry. We have the same opinions as everybody else, it seems.
Collectively,
Collectively, yes.
Yes.
Okay,
We
now let's
kinda
find
have
out where
a-
we differ individually.
We kind of have a love-hate relationship with Rotten Tomatoes on this podcast, so
Yep.
just
Okay.
a little bit.
I
Yeah,
understand. that
Rotten
fully.
Tomatoes is the reason we score movies the way that we do.
Okay.
Sure.
I like that. It kind of gives it more of an overall approach rather than just one score.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or a holistic approach.
That's what we like. We were anytime we would look at like Rotten Tomatoes, we'd see the critics' scores and it'd be like really low on a movie that we really enjoyed, and it's just like they're grading the movie as a whole or how much they liked it or whatever, and we're like, no.
I'm
We're
definitely.
sick of that
I
shit.
sound like I'm on the critical. I'm in that batch. Like, I'm in the
It's
critic
funny
batch.
because Scott always says, I don't want to be a film critic. I don't want to, like,
No.
even with writing and stuff, he's like, I don't want to review films, but
No.
just moreover, like, I don't want to be overly critical because the fact that you just made a movie is so great. And then he's always the one that's the harshest critic. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, that's exactly why I don't want to do it, because everyone would hate me. So like,
It's true.
If it makes you feel any better, I feel like I'm always too nice.
Okay.
Sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah, you seem like a very nice person. I can see
Yeah.
that. I don't feel like
Well,
you'd be
thank
too
you.
nice, but you do seem very
and I-
nice, so I can see that.
And I also want to say, like, I'm not like a film snob. Like, I'm not like I
No.
only watch Criterion and you know, I mean, I do watch Criterion, but like,
No,
I'm
you
not
don't
like,
watch trash movies.
but I
with us.
love everything. Like, I really do. So I'm just, for this, it's moreover just like my love of superhero movies in general is what dictated it for me, and the fact that I've seen a trillion of them, you know, and it's just like, for me, like, you know, this one was better than Batman versus Superman if I was to compare it to another Snyder superhero film. Much better
Okay.
than that movie. That movie was horrible, but in my opinion, I thought it was horrible. But like, but I came out. I said this one I think is decent. Decent.
That's
I
your
thought it was-
decent score?
Yeah, that's my decent score. Yeah, that's my decent score. Yep. Yeah.
I have a follow-up question to the Batman v Superman part. Have you seen David Ayer's Suicide Squad that like came out like I think the same year?
Horrible movie. One of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Hands
But
down.
Okay,
can we
okay.
just collectively,
It's hilariously
but can
bad
we
though.
just collectively appreciate Slipknot, the man who could climb
Yeah, the
anything?
best character, best
But
superhero
didn't.
ever. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I actually have a really
man
funny
that can
story
climb
about
anything.
going to see Suicide Squad in theaters. Like, I went with my buddy Jay, who was actually the best man at my wedding, and he it was raining, and this one we were living in Florida, and it was raining, and he didn't want to go. I was like, nah, dude, we got to see it, whatever. We both got soaked, so we sat in this cold theater, freezing, watching this horrible movie. And when we leave the theater, my friend takes out his phone, and he's like, oh my god, my phone's not working. Oh my god, my phone's not working. His phone, like, completely was destroyed from it being in his wet pocket for the duration of the movie. And it was literally like, he was like, this is the worst fucking day of my life. I fucking hate you for bringing me here. Obviously, he was like,
oh shit.
He was like, you brought me to a movie that was absolute trash. I was soaked and freezing the whole time, and now I have to buy a new phone. I was like, happy Saturday, man.
That seems like a Suicide Squad experience for everyone.
Yeah, I tried to get him to rewatch it with me just for funsies, and he was like, not about it. He was like, I'm never watching that again. Like, mostly because it was bad.
I can't say I can argue with the guy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I trust you guys a lot more knowing that you feel that way.
But you want to know something funny? I would rewatch the Suicide Squad before I would rewatch Batman vs Superman. Because the Suicide Squad, I mean, is it the new one's called The Suicide Squad? Or just, I don't know. But
yes, the new one's called The Suicide Squad.
I find it to be like in the vein of like Troll 2. It's like hilariously bad. Where Batman v Superman, I'm just like, obviously it's not the same movie, but like in the vein of like so bad it's entertaining. Well, Batman v Superman is just disappointing.
I can understand that.
Yeah, like it was a letdown. That. Yeah, it was a letdown. Like, yeah.
Sorry, Caleb.
No, I was just gonna say. Well, I think what this movie was like, it was an improvement upon the Joss Whedon version. Like, I think that there was a little bit better flow. Like, yes, the movie seemed to go on forever.
Yep.
I felt like it took 40 years, not 4 hours. I was like, I've missed the birth of all our children. I've missed 17 birthdays.
Yeah, it was like
what is happening?
I took 8 breaks watching it.
So long. Okay,
and I love long movies. I do, and it's like I mean, I don't love them, but I can deal with them, you know. But this one was a little much.
I mean, thankfully it was broken into chapters. I appreciate that.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I liked the chapters. I thought that was fun. It let me know when I could complain about something else.
just a quick little bit of info. They originally were going to release it on HBO Max as a miniseries, not as like a whole thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they're originally going to release it as a miniseries, but they decided against it. Yeah.
No, I feel like that would have been better because then I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to diverge from what your original point was, but I do feel like that would be better because I felt like there was so much, even though it was so long, there was just so much that they were jam-packed, but also that they skipped over that I felt like they could have expanded on, even though they were already taking fucking forever with everything.
Yeah.
Then maybe it would have worked better for me as a miniseries.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think it would have been a little bit easier to consume. Maybe like do 2 chapters per.
Sure.
Because there were, what was there, 6 chapters?
6, yeah.
I honestly feel if they did that, because I know Zack Snyder came out and said, I had to cut like 2 hours from this 4-hour movie. So that might have given him the chance to add the extra 2 hours.
So it was originally 6 hours.
Yeah.
Makes sense, because I was expecting more Joker stuff. Yeah. And not just at like the epilogue, and apparently there was even more Joker stuff. Not that I'm a huge fan of the Jared Leto Joker, but I mean, I was still excited to see it. That little epilogue bit was kind of unsatisfying to me.
That's fair. I can understand that.
No. Especially that very weird sexual joke he made. I didn't get that. I didn't.
It did make a weird sense.
Yeah, it was a very strange... I'm not going to spoil it for anyone what he says, but it was a very strange sexual joke he said to Batman, and I was like, what? I was just very confused. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we're in spoiler territory now. We already warned everyone.
Let's do it.
Let's go on. Okay, good. So we can say whatever we want. I feel like
I
would accidentally spoil something, so that's good, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, when you were reading people's names, because for me, I'm also not very familiar with this world overall, so it was a learning experience. But when you were reading people's names, I was like, oh! So I would say something that would spoil it for everyone. I'm sorry.
For sure.
You're good.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I feel safe now. I can talk.
Yeah. I think overall it was a vast improvement, but if as it stands, like, alone, I think a 74 is pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely agree with that. Honestly, I feel my... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
No, I was just going to say, I feel the biggest change that I liked, even though I feel like no one really noticed this, at the beginning of Joss Whedon's cut, like, there's, like, the huge, like, music montage, and then all of a sudden it just cuts to Wonder Woman in helping those people from that bombing.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just, like, so... It comes so fast, but yet that scene doesn't come in until, I think, like, 20 or 30 minutes into the movie. There's a whole bunch more setup even before that. So I really appreciated that addition.
Cool. Yeah. No. That was a cool sequence. Yeah. I thought it was a cool sequence. I think I'm gonna comment on Zack Snyder here. I like half of his movies and hate his other half of movies. That's how I am with Zack Snyder. His style to me, I find director to director. His style to me is, I find at times very abrasive. Like, I find it to be very overly dramatic at times. His atmosphere that he develops is very, a lot of his stuff feels, to me at least, like, very kind of artificial, I guess. Like, even with his, like, color tones and stuff, he does the very high contrast, like, look, and the crush blacks and the blue tint and all that. And it just all reads like drama, like, it's just like drama, like, and which is fine, but it's like, I feel like somehow it steps over sometimes into be looking and feeling a bit artificial. But like I said, like, I love Watchmen. I love the first Dawn of the Dead. And I loved Man of Steel. Actually, I loved Man of Steel. But I hate 300. I hate Sucker Punch. I hate Batman v Superman. So it's like half and half.
I think this movie just really showed off how crazy he can get with slow-mo.
Oh my god. Half the movie was in slow-mo.
Okay, am I wrong? This movie could have been at least 2.5, 2:45, maybe 3 hours if we had just cut half of the slow-mo. I was saying,
fair enough.
There's a lot of slow-mo.
And my perspective is different from you guys because I really am not familiar with any of the other DC movies. So I will say I had a bit of a different perspective, I guess. But it's like, with The Flash, I really liked him as a character.
He was a great character.
He's so
he was
fun,
great.
but I literally dreaded when he had his scenes because I was like, Jesus, this is gonna take 15 fucking minutes. And I'm like, just for him to get through one thing. And I'm like, honestly, the remote was far away or I would have just fast forwarded through it. But I was like, well, I guess I'm in it for the long run because I'm lazy and I'm not getting up. But it's like, it's just, the slow-mo in this movie was just unbearable.
Yeah.
It just made to me, and look, I love a good genre film. I love superhero film. Like, well, Marvel, I'm more of a Marvel person, I guess, because that's more of what I know. But I'm like, I appreciate the effects and the way that we do things. And that's why with, like, for me, the acting, I was like, I didn't really feel like anything was missing. It's pretty much what I'd expect for this genre. It's fine. So I know there are certain things to expect, but it was like, my God, how much are you going to lean on this with the slow-mo? Like, it just never ended.
Yeah, it's super difficult to argue with that. Like, Flash is supposed to be the fastest character, and his scenes were the slowest.
It was all slow. I actually said that earlier. I was like, I never saw him really go fast.
No.
He was all really in slow-mo. And I understand. He's going at the speed of light.
Yeah, they're trying to give him his emotional moments. This is when he's acting and he's giving it his all, and that's great. But, like, fuck, dude. One? Can we have one scene where we don't see it?
Yeah, but I think that's one thing that they could have taken from Joss, because with Joss Whedon's, you'd get to see him move fast a lot more. And yeah, in this, it was just like,
I'm wondering if the reason why they did that is because, and I don't know how you two felt about the way that Ezra Miller runs as the Flash, but I'm just wondering if when it's just in like actual like motion, it's not slowed down. I'm sorry, Ezra Miller kind of looks dumb with kind of flailing his hands. It does, at least to me. I don't know. I feel it looks like a lot cooler in slow-mo, or at least they try to make it look cooler. But yeah, when it's just like in like regular motion and they're trying to make him look going fast as he can, just the way that he runs, it's like, dude, you should be stumbling. You should be falling flat on your face. You should not.
Barry Allen would be 1 billion times faster if he ran like a normal person.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Fair enough.
It's really
I can't really speak to that.
I wanted to mention. How do you guys feel about the fact that it was in 4:3? It was in like Academy format, like boxed, like square boxed.
I actually had to Google whether or not that was what they meant to do, because I thought my TV was broken.
Got you. Yeah.
I only I don't know. I liked it. I thought it made it different. I mean, I kind of already knew that's what they were going for, considering that's how every trailer was shown. So I'm assuming this is how the movie's going to be showcased then.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So Scott and I actually didn't watch it together, which is
we watched it separately.
Our scores are a surprise to each other as well, because when we watch movies together, we pause and we talk, and we're like the worst. You don't want to watch a movie with us; it's awful. But we were not together, so we were just texting, and I didn't know a lot about this film coming into it. I knew the basic story, and I just knew what I had seen, like people talking about on Twitter, and this is just Zack Snyder trying to, get his redemption, whatever. And so I definitely had that mentality going into it. I can't deny that. But the second I saw that so I watched it on HBO Max, and they had a disclaimer. I literally paused it and I called you, didn't I? And I said, this is so masturbatory. He's just putting it in 4:3 because, it just feels so pretentious, because it says, this is the director's original intention. And I'm like, So I was kind of hating from the beginning, I'm not going to lie. But then I will say I didn't really mind it. I thought it kind of worked after a while. So I will apologize, say I was wrong.
Yeah, I think for me, I did like that, because with 4:3, like people do it to like do more intimate portraiture. So like whenever there was like a close up or anything like that, it feels really nice. It also makes combat scenes a lot more tactile, I guess you want to say, because we have less space. Sure. And I read that they didn't want the landscape to take away from the characters. It's almost like they didn't want you to see the background too much, but the green screen background. But at first I didn't like it, but then I eased into it, and I was like, I actually really like this. I thought it was pretty. I was like, that's one aspect I really dug about it.
I did like that at the end. Yeah, so I will concede I was wrong. I'm sorry, Zach.
Trying to think of anything else that, like, at least story wise, that I had an issue with. The epilogue I think was what kind of killed it, because it led a lot into like there's going to be a sequel when everyone knows that there isn't going to be.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers come out.
I think they confirmed that the Snyder Cut is not canon. So if they were to do, because I know that right now they're focusing on the Matt Reeves Batman, so they're not even thinking about what's next for Justice League right now.
It's so weird that they did this.
Yeah, so I think that was one thing that kind of killed it for me. And I feel like maybe this was more of a writing issue, but. Actually, I think it was more of a writing issue, so I'll leave it for then. But
for me, the only other thing story-wise, and I know maybe this is just because of my lack of background knowledge, but like I felt like the intros, and it is funny because you kind of touched on this with saying that it felt nicer that it didn't just jump into Wonder Woman saving everybody at the bank. The difference between the two films. So maybe it needed the super long intros, but I felt like every character had their own short film at the beginning. And so it kind of took me out of it because I would forget a little bit, like, what is the overall picture and the overall story? Like, what's happening here? I didn't mind that everyone had their own montage. And I think that in and of itself would have helped me as an uneducated viewer, but it was the fact that they were just so long. Like, everybody's individual scenes were so long that then it was like, when we shifted, it was like, oh, shit, I forgot we were in, like, this isn't Aquaman, or this isn't whatever, you know? So it kind of, it felt like, to me, it could have been tightened at the beginning.
Yeah, I think their big issue was that with the Justice League, they didn't have time to... They were trying to pull off what Marvel did over a longer period of time. Sure. They didn't have, like, an introduction movie to any of these characters. They had Man of Steel,
Superman,
Batman versus Superman,
and
even the Batman versus Superman, like, that one, it didn't really give any origins. It just kind of threw you into the characters.
Yeah. And this one, I think,
and then they brought Wonder Woman. Yeah, they brought Wonder Woman in at the very ass end of Batman versus Superman, and then they just kind of glazed over everyone else. So it was kind of like that's what they were making up for in this, trying to give us a little short story of each of the characters.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. The issue, I think, is that they weren't ready to do a Justice League movie. I think they needed more time.
Yeah, that's so weird.
To do origin movies. I think they...
Yeah. Does anybody know why they did it in this order? Like, why did they do Justice League before they did any of the...
Because Warner Brothers was trying to cash in on what Marvel was doing with the Avengers.
They were playing catch up.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
Or at least trying to.
They're just like, we need a team-up movie yesterday, and this is what happened.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Marvel just does it better.
Yeah, they absolutely do. When I scored this movie, I actually went into it because I know after this we had like Wonder Woman, or wait, was Wonder Woman?
Actually, don't remember. I think it was before. I think
it was Wonder Woman before this, because Wonder Woman and Justice League came out the exact same year. But Wonder Woman came out during the summer, and then this one came out in the winter. Or, sorry, the original Justice League.
Okay, yeah. So I went into it only focusing on what had come out before. So I was like, okay, this is like watching Man of Steel, watching Batman vs. Superman, and watching Wonder Woman. That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
Like, this is what the continuity, like, because I know you could have thrown in Aquaman after that, or, I mean, even Shazam.
It feels like they were doing the opposite of Marvel, where they wanted to introduce everyone in one team-up movie and then do the origin stories, which I think is a mistake. Because we don't care. Like, watching this movie is like, I didn't care.
I feel a little bit
anyone.
better now knowing that, at least at the time of the original one, I wasn't the only one who was like, who the hell is that?
No, I mean, like, and you see, the thing is, I know, because I love DC. I grew up watching Justice League, and, you know, I love DC. Like, I love Marvel more, but DC, I'm a huge fan. I love Superman, love Batman, but even then, it's like, I don't like these characters in this movie. I'm like, Superman, yeah, I care about him because we had the origin story. Batman, sure, but it's like, honestly, if like Cyborg or like Aquaman like died or whatever, like I wouldn't shed a tear. I'd be like, oh, that sucks, but you know, it's not like in Avengers where it's like if Thor or Captain America or when Tony Stark died, it was like, oh no, you know, like it's because we go through years with them, you know. These guys, it's just like, okay, like Barry Allen is trying to impress his dad. We know that kind of. Cyborg has some issues with the fact that he's like a robot, not a man anymore. Cool, but you know, still Aquaman hates his people and doesn't like want to do his duty, and you know that's not really whatever. Like, you know, and then Batman and Wonder Woman.
They made it seem like they made it seem like Aquaman had some very harsh feelings towards the Atlanteans when it was the opposite. They hate him.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and in like the Injustice, at least the Injustice games, Aquaman hates humans and like loves Atlanteans. So it was I was like, wait, what? Aquaman hates Atlanteans? What? I was very confused. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. He's like the king of the sea. He always has beef with the people on the surface. Like, that's his whole thing. So I'm like, I guess they switched it. Because I didn't see Aquaman either. Mm-mm. Yeah, I haven't seen the standalone Aquaman. So I don't know what happens in that. But I think that was after Justice League.
Yeah, it was after. And it wasn't awful.
I heard it was pretty okay. I heard it was pretty okay, yeah.
I mean, okay, so that brings up the question. Do you guys hate the speech, or how do you feel about the speech bubbles that they have to do when they're underwater?
Oh, to talk to each other?
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought it was very jarring. I was like, what?
Because
I was neither here nor there with it personally. I was like, whatever. Okay. Like, I glazed over it.
I didn't care so much for the speech bubbles as I did for the damn, like, dolphin clicking.
Yeah. That's a
I just love that
James
James Wan for Aquaman's just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. He just said, yeah, they're just gonna be able to talk underwater.
He abandoned that. That's probably a good. Yeah, I thought it was. I don't know. Again, I didn't realize that this movie came after or before all of the individual stories, so I was just like, wow, I guess that's a choice. But I'm glad to hear that they abandoned it. I was gonna go with it though. It didn't make me feel like, oh, I hate this and I can't believe how stupid this is. I was just like, oh, interesting. Okay, let's see. But I have to say, knowing that they trashed that does make me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think story. We're sitting at a 74.25. Moving on over to writing, we are sitting at a 66.5.
Yeah. I mean, some pretty bad lines in there.
The writing,
the first moment that I was gonna turn it off, over the dialogue was when Wonder Woman saves the day, and then the little girl says, "Can I be like you when I'm older?"
Yeah, that was pretty.
She says, "You can be anything you want."
That was pretty dumb. Yeah, like I appreciate the messaging,
of course,
but yeah, it's not great.
And the second time was when what's his name? Flash asks Bruce Wayne, "What's your superpower?" And he goes,
"I'm rich." Yeah.
And I was like, off. I'm
going to say,
and it just got worse from there.
I'm going to say real quick that I actually like that line.
No,
I thought it was pretty solid. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, I was like, that's baller. Like, he's I'm glad Batman's self-aware in this universe. My issue with the writing, dialogue. Yeah, but like my issue with the writing was just the general plot was that I just felt as if it was just very kind of, stock, very kind of.
It just feels very
typical. Overall. This villain.
Even the love scenes, stuff with Lois and Superman. It's just like that's all you can come up with.
The villain's motives just kind of bore me. Like it's just like it's Darkseid. He's coming. What is his motivation? He wants to rule all planets. Like, and the villain isn't even Darkseid. It's this Steppenwolf guy who I don't really know much about. And I mean, come on, our villain is like the main guy's like lieutenant. Like, and, he didn't really have anything other than he was just a bad guy. It's not like I think about like Thanos or Loki in Marvel. Like Loki's like he has like a troubled past, and you kind of feel for him. You know that he's like hurting inside. Because he was never accepted by his dad and all this stuff. So that's why he's bad. And Thanos, he's like. He's not, his motives were super original. Like, he wasn't trying to rule anything. He was just trying to like essentially do population control in the universe. Once he achieved his goal, he became a farmer. I thought that was so cool and original. Where in this, I just felt like with the writing and the plot, with the villain's motivations, just so like, oh, take over Earth. meh, like, so atypical, like, and also just like the way that we got there with, there's these 3 items that they need, and I can't help but think of the Infinity Stones and the Tesseract and all that, and I know it's different, but it just felt to me, the general overall plot just felt to me to be very, very, typical, like cliche, like I was like, meh. And the, obviously the writing goes into the character development too. I think that's where it really failed. Was I know that's another segment, that's in the writing. So it's like, man, like I just don't want to go back to it. I already said my piece, but that was my issue with the writing. Those 2 specific things. Like dialogue, yes, but for me, how you said like and I'm directing this to Sarah right now. Mm-hmm. For me, like how you said, like for the actors, for you, it's like, well, I expect that. It's kind of like with me with the dialogue in this. It's like, I kind of expect that, Fair. So it's like what I was paying attention more to was just the general events that led up to the end.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest writing issues was how they kind of broke Batman. Because Batman is very, like, strategic.
Right.
Like, he has a plan for his plans.
Yeah, he thinks 18 million steps ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and in this, it's just, he didn't seem to have a plan for anything.
Yeah,
like,
he seemed to be gunning it.
That...
Yeah.
Well, that was even the line of dialogue where they finally come up with what they're going to do, and then I think it is Batman who says, we have a plan now. And it's like, what?
Yeah, because I think they were trying to push like this whole like faith thing. Because he said it a bunch, like, "Oh, I'm using faith this time, not logic." So it's like,
that's silly.
So I think that's like that feeds into that. I mean, I'm not saying that's good. Yeah, it's definitely out of character for Batman. I agree with you. I think it is very out of character for Batman. Also, I'm just not a fan of Batfleck myself. So, like, in general, like, I don't hate him, but I don't love him. So, like, yeah.
Yeah, I think what bothered me is like in the Joss Whedon version, when they resurrected Superman, Batman's game plan was if he went crazy or lost his mind, his plan was to bring in Lois, and Lois would suddenly like figure or kind of save Superman.
So he had Lois in the pocket, whereas this time he just kind of
he's just like, okay,
coincidentally.
Yeah, like if Lois just happened to be like somewhere else, like if she went to Smallville to visit Martha, Batman would have been screwed.
Yeah, I mean, we know these superhero movies are filled with Deus Ex Machinas. Like they happen like every 2 seconds. Like last second, right there, right, perfect, you're saved because the person just happens to be ready now to step in. Like, no, I feel you. That's actually I didn't know that because I didn't see the original, so. That's actually one thing that, from what you're saying, sounds better in the what's it called, the Justice version,
the Justice League,
the Justice League.
Yeah,
but it's just a very out of character for Batman.
For sure,
Batman is like there was I think it's Justice League War. It's like an animated version.
Oh yeah, love it.
He has they have like the plans on how to defeat everyone in the Justice League, including himself.
Yeah, that's how Batman
is. That's how he thinks. Not, oh, well, we're just going to go in and have faith and we're going to be fine.
Yeah. I don't know about that, Snyder.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Batman honestly felt like a very passive character.
He did feel passive.
We were talking earlier, like, he doesn't even really fight. He doesn't hardly do anything.
He does one fist fight. And it's just like, that's not Batman. Batman fights everyone. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, that's a good point. Like, so, no, I agree.
There's a lot of moments where I'm like, Batman is not carrying his own weight.
No, he really isn't.
Yeah, he's like spearheading this whole thing, but then he's just kind of like, but you do it.
All I was thinking was that Wonder Woman's like back must be hurting from carrying this team because she's the one who hooked it up. She's the one who does the fighting. Yeah. She's the one, even when they're doing like the research, she's the one who's like, do this, do that, do this, and Batman's like, okay. I'm like, what are you doing, Batman? Like, Hey, shouts out to Wonder Woman though.
I will say one line in the writing I did appreciate was Aquaman. He's like, "You just dress up like a bat," or I did think that was very funny, and that was a good acting moment. I was like,
I do also want to say that they completely underutilized J. Jonah Jameson. Why did they have him come out to be in 2 scenes and have like 4 lines? Like as Commissioner Gordon, I was like, dude,
and he got yoked for that movie.
Yeah, he got shelved completely. Like, I was like, what? This J. Jonah Jameson, the man has a fucking Oscar. Like, you don't put him in there for 3 minutes total. Like,
I mean, he said yes.
When I saw those pictures of him at the gym, I'm just like, oh, Commissioner Gordon's going to be laying on some hands.
Commissioner Gordon didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, writing is sitting at a 66.5.
Okay.
Moving on over to acting, we are sitting at a 76.25.
Feels fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think for that, I think we talked about it. Like, it's what we expect. Like, you know, like we're not expecting, you know, not to mention the Oscars thing, but Oscar performances. We got what we, you know, came for. Like, everyone did their thing, you know.
Yeah.
If I said there was one, I would say the best actors were definitely Ezra Miller, and I actually really liked. I thought Amy Adams did a good job too. She always does a good job. But she's the shit.
That's true.
Yeah.
Diane Lane did a good job too.
Diane Lane was fantastic. She actually was probably the best. Now that I just think about
Diane
it.
Lane.
I will say once again, I just don't like Jared Leto's Joker, and I thought it was a very hokey monologue. I just don't vibe with it. Maybe I'm spoiled by the Joaquin Phoenix one and the Heath Ledger one, but I just can't. I can't get into Jared Leto's Joker. Like I just can't. Like even his laugh is just like it just. Everything about him feels forced to me. Like, it just doesn't feel natural. Like, it just feels like, I'm crazy. Like, it's just, okay.
That's a good point.
Personal feeling.
You can tell that they tried to that Zack Snyder tried to redeem him as best as he could from Suicide Squad, but it just wasn't enough.
I will agree with you on that. I did feel like watching it, I was completely taken aback by seeing the Joker. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I did really feel like this is just trying to be redemption from the Suicide Squad. Like, it really felt like that to me, because I did feel like his performance
giving him another shot
was toned down from what it was, but it still was just... Whew.
Which is funny. It's like in the Suicide Squad, he got shafted on that too. Like, like,
yeah,
like I don't think they like your Joker very much, man, or they're just being dicks, or both. Like,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, his Joker's a tough sell, and I think the relationship, like seeing him interact, I was expecting a little bit more with the interaction between him and Batman.
Yeah,
like more tension. And I think where they lost me with the tension was when he started bringing up Robin and like the Boy Wonder, and he's like, "You be very careful about what you say." And then he said something, and Batman follows up with, "That wasn't very careful."
That was not careful.
Can I also say it was very weird that Batman said to the Joker, "I'm going to fucking kill you." Like, Batman's like the poster child of I never kill anyone, and it's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah,
like,
believe me, I will.
I'm like, what? what?
It was interesting.
It was something else. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah,
I think the absolute standouts. One, I agree with you guys, Ezra Miller. I loved him and his character, and I like how he went to have this like superhero moment. Instead of saving the girl first, he like grabs a hot dog and puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
That was pretty. Yeah, that was great.
Oh, that was great.
That was great.
Yeah, I started like thinking like, oh, like when he went to grab that, I'm like, oh, okay, what are you doing with that? And then when they were like, oh, dog, I'm like, oh, okay, not as weird as I thought it was going to be.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, besides him, I think Ray Fisher also did a really good job.
Oh yeah.
His role was drastically reduced in
Really?
the Justice
Yeah.
the Justice League.
Oh no.
Honestly, I mean, I would say this for character development, but literally he had none in Justice League.
Sure.
He was just there.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And-
it was absolutely just him being there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in this, I think they gave him a lot more to do, and it felt a little bit more like he contributed to the team.
Sure.
Sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, he had
So
a pretty
I really
central-
liked Ray Fisher in this role.
Yeah,
I think
I thought he was good.
seeing how his powers work and how he can manipulate technology to his every whim was so cool. Like seeing him like in the bank and then seeing like this woman's story going on and being able to like improve her financial situation and everything like that just felt very like heroic to me and felt really
cool.
good, and I think he sold that
No,
in
yeah,
a way that he was
good.
also able to pull off a little bit robotic.
Yeah,
I thought.
and
that
I
was
think
good.
he also like had the best character arc
Oh, for sure.
had the best character
did.
arc. Yeah, so that was pretty good.
Even though they said it was worse than the original
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
So I guess.
Yeah, well, he didn't even
maybe
really
we'll gain
have
some
any
insight.
in the original.
Yeah. Like literally, it's just Wonder Woman recruits him, and he's just there after that. That's literally how it is
I'm sorry.
in
I
Whedon's
misunderstood. I thought you said he had more in the Justice League, but he had less.
Yeah,
Oh
less.
no,
Sorry.
he was. It was.
Apparently,
Yeah, he had
completely
less
shut
to
down.
do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then yes, I would. Yes. Okay. Never mind. Ignore me.
Rose, anyone stand out for you or?
Honestly, I mean, this is kind of like more of a. I feel bad that he didn't get enough. I don't know. To me, I felt because I actually love Batfleck. I love
You
Ben Affleck as
do?
Batman. Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
what it is, but I love him as Batman. So, I don't know, I feel like him and Aquaman were kind of like sidelined out of the main five. Even though, like, I mean, I know
Yeah.
Superman comes in later, but I don't know. I feel Batman was kind of pushed to the side with Aquaman, which kind of sucked because this was technically the last time we'll see Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah, Batfleck's
so,
done. Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately.
Now it's Battinson.
I'm gonna go cry.
Aw. It just felt very odd to me to be watching Ben Affleck in a movie. I don't know if it's just because I'm a millennial and he was like really hot when I was younger. Not like hot in terms of looks, but like hot as like a, he was everywhere when I was younger, and then I like really haven't seen him in anything because I haven't seen him as Batman. I think I did see the first one, his first Batfleck appearance, but I don't remember, so it's possible I didn't, and I might have just made that up from things I've seen. But it felt very strange as now an adult to be like, oh, Ben Affleck is back. And I know it's a couple of years ago, but I don't know. Maybe I watched the E! True Hollywood Story of Jennifer Lopez last week, so I like only am seeing him as like Jennifer Lopez's fiance in the early 2000s, and then I'm like, but I never heard from him again, and I know that's not true. It just felt very odd to be like, oh yeah, Ben Affleck is in movies. And he's not even he's a great actor. I do think he does a good job as Batman. Like, there are some issues I have with him, but I mean, overall, he's not a bad actor. He's Ben Affleck. So it's like, yeah, he's going to do fine.
My issue with Batfleck isn't like Ben Affleck. My issue is just the movies that he happens to be in. Like, and the way that they have executed and presented the character has just been not great. You know, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just very disorienting.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. So yes, acting, like I said, we're sitting at a 76.25.
Yep.
Moving on over to character development, we are sitting at a 58.
Yeah.
And that's mainly due to Scott. 20
for character development. Yeah. Yeah, I thought the character development in this was horrible. I mean, personally, I just really thought it was really bad. Like, I think I touched on this already, but it was just like, I didn't care. And I'm really, like, most of us are, but I'm just so big about character, especially when it comes to superhero movies. And I didn't get anything. Mm. Like, with Wonder Woman, like, okay, I know her, cool. I didn't get anything. I didn't get, like, an origin. I need a little bit more, like, of the start. Like, it just feels like, and we said it, like, we just got into it. Mm. I felt like Wonder Woman and Ben Affleck, they didn't have an arc at all. I think Ezra Miller's arc was kind of, like, it was there, but it was kind of whatever. Cyborg had a decent arc, and then Aquaman also had, like, no arc. So I'm just like, you know, as a writer too, like with screenwriter, like, it's just so important to have character arcs and stories for me. And I just can't get around that and get around the fact that this was also 4 hours, and the fact that, like, it felt like they could have a little bit more time to give us a little bit more context around these characters instead of kind of doing other things, I guess. Look, I didn't make it, I didn't write it. You know, maybe there wasn't enough time. But I think also that in terms of this suffers from what we were talking about earlier, where there weren't standalone films. Mm. You know, because Avengers was like this too. Like, we just got into the characters, like, but we knew them already. We knew their origins. We knew Cap's struggle when he was younger. We knew Tony Stark, how he became to be, and his struggles with partying and alcohol, and him and Pepper and all this, and even Hulk and Thor with his dad and all these stuff. But in this, you have the majority of the people on the team. I'm just like, I don't know anything about you. I don't care about you. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. And that, for me, that's like a big problem. I'm like, I can't get around that. I can't get around that lack of character development. So I gave it a fat 20%. Or skinny one, rather, I should say. A scant 20%.
Yeah, I think they tried getting away, at least with Wonder Woman. I think they tried getting away with giving her very little to, or not little to do. Like, I think they tried to pull the focus away from Batman and Wonder Woman because Batman technically had a movie before this, Wonder Woman had a movie before this, and so they tried giving a little bit more attention to the characters that we didn't get that for. Aquaman, I definitely think he got the shit end of the stick with his character, because it's just going from this movie to Aquaman, it feels like, I'm glad that they introduced the multiverse, because they feel like they're from two different universes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and then Ezra Miller's, or the Flash's story, I actually kind of liked that the dad was like, you need to stop, like, living in the past.
Mm.
Sure.
Like, stop, like, having some, like, have him hold you back, and you need to look to the future, and, like, and all this other stuff. And it's just, I really liked what they did with that.
I agree. I definitely agree. And that's why I said it, like, it was decent. My problem is, like, you know, kind of in the vein of, like, show don't tell. Like, I want to see that. I don't want to just hear it in, like, dialogue. Like, I want to, like, see it more. Like, what, like, maybe, like, some scenes with him and his dad before, and, like, how the dad got into jail, and, like, I don't know, like more of that, like, at home, and, like, those kind of things, rather than just, like, them having a conversation, him saying those things, and then we're like, okay, we get it, we understand it, it's there, the information's there, but the heartstrings aren't set up, for me at least. I'm just like, I need to see it, you know?
Yeah, which I think we're going to get a little bit more of that backstory and information from, like, his past with the Flash movie that's going to be coming out.
I'm down for that, because he's a great character.
He's great character, and
he's great.
I do agree that of all the characters, he definitely had one of the most significant arcs for me, and I did appreciate what we did get. I agree with you, Scott, though. I think maybe it's just our background of show don't tell. But
Yeah, we were.
I don't know.
That was
hammered into us.
hammered into us in film school. So like our writing professor always said, "Show scream it at us. Show don't tell."
But I do still appreciate it, and I liked it. I enjoyed him, and I enjoy him a lot as a character overall. So I think that'll be fun to see more of that in his origin story. So
yeah,
I'm down for it.
I'm excited for that one because they're bringing Michael Keaton back.
Oh, fun!
Super in.
He's great. Yeah.
I thought I saw that they may not do that anymore.
What? That's bullshit.
I don't know. I can't remember where I saw that, but yeah, that might not happen.
Sorry, that's so dumb.
Then cancel Flash. No,
Dude, they have
Flash.
What they set up in Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and this Justice League, they have the potential to pull off a really awesome story. If I don't get Michael Keaton, I better damn well get Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Flashpoint Batman.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Not George Clooney as Batman.
Dude, I will fly to Utah to punch you in the throat.
Oh, come on, bat nipples and all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, bat nipples are a real thing.
Jeez. Yeah, so like I said, character development. Scott's the one that shot this one super down to hell.
Had to do
but
it.
It's sitting at a 58.
Had to do it. Sorry. It is my lowest score. I'm a stickler. Don't mind me. I'm just a stickler.
All right, moving on over to effects. We're slightly higher. We're sitting at a 58.5.
Yeah. I thought effects-wise, some of them are good. Some of them are pretty bad. I really like some, in some scenes, Cyborg looked good. But there were some scenes where he looked really bad, where it looked like almost like his face was clipping, and there was something weird sometimes with his CGI. I feel like, of course, it's a Snyder film, so I know it's going to be a ton of CGI. The backgrounds are going to be mostly CGI. That's all fine. But I think for me, the main thing was Cyborg's. Sometimes he looked really wonky. I don't know what it was. It just was ugh. I was like, what? It looks like a cutscene from a PS2 game sometimes. I'm like,
it did. I think it started looking funky when with the. I think it was just his face, and then it went to no neck.
Yeah,
and then it was just kind of skeleton.
Yeah,
it was the body.
His whole body. That's what I'm. Yeah, that's another thing. He was very sinewy, but in a robot way. Very bony and spiky looking, where, my idea of Cyborg obviously comes from Teen Titans, which is one of my favorite shows, where he's cleaner and I guess a little bit more bulky and whatnot. But Cyborg
has a little bit more human to him
a little bit
just
more
his
human.
face.
Yeah. He looked like one of the Chitauri in the first Avengers movie. Sometimes, one of those creatures. I was like, oh man, perfect. He's, I don't know. We're talking about the CGI. That was my thing with Cyborg.
Pretty much covered my opinion.
I don't know what I don't remember what my score was for effects. But whatever it was that the Cyborg is what kind of just did it for me. But I will give them props though.
You and Sarah both ended up giving it a 35.
Superman mustache deal.
Yeah, 35 is what we both gave it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah. I guess it really.
Yeah.
Some of the CGI coupled with the cinematography at times looked a little goofy. There were some shots of Wonder Woman to me that looked a little goofy, with with the CGI and the camera work mixed in. I was like,
I'm wondering if those scenes, because there was a few of those that stood out to me too. I wonder if those scenes were the ones that were done when the Snyder Cut was announced and getting released, and they were actually working on that.
Yeah.
Because maybe they just didn't put like a full theatrical budget into that. They just wanted to finish up the effects. Because I think one thing with The Flash, the scene where he like turns and his shoes kind of disintegrate, which looked super cool.
That looked cool, yeah.
But
that looked cool.
It looked a little rubbery.
Yeah. That one I forgave because it was cool. I dug it. I was like, oh, that's cool. He breaks out of his shoes because it's too hot. You know? I think honestly, I honestly thought Steppenwolf looked pretty rough. I didn't like him. I didn't like his look. I didn't like
any of the demons. I didn't think any of them looked scary at all. They all looked silly. And
Darkseid too. I thought Darkseid looked pretty dopey. He didn't look imposing to me. Mm-hmm. Once again, he was like too flippin' skinny. Like, I'm not trying to like advocate for like buff dudes, but like, I don't know. I'm like, he's Darkseid. He's supposed to be huge. Like, and he looks like, I don't know, man, like he needs a sandwich. Like,
I think what maybe would have sold me on Darkseid a little bit more would have been had we not seen him get his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
And then he never makes up for it. Like he goes, comes down, throws an axe, gets an axe to the shoulder, and then he like runs away, and then he never redeems himself.
Guys, I want to read you an exact text I sent to Sarah earlier today. I want to read you an exact text because while we were watching, we were obviously like texting each other and whatnot, and that was one of the first things I said in that past scene. I was like,
"There's so many texts."
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm like scrolling through them.
I might not be able to find it.
It was, yeah. One of my texts to her was, "Yo, who the fuck is Steppenwolf?" And I know DC, and I was like, "Who the fuck is Steppenwolf?"
One of my texts to Scott just said regrets in terms of watching this.
Oh, okay. So I said, and I'm saying this verbatim. Darkseid is kind of the Thanos of the DC world and got a nick in the neck, and that was it for him? Question mark.
That's a good point.
I didn't have any response other than a bunch of laughing emojis because I was just like, yeah.
Like, that's it? Like, you just get an axe to the shoulder and you're like, all right, I'm done. I'm out. We're all out, actually, not just me. We're all done.
Stopped taking it seriously. I was like, well, okay.
Yeah, I think that maybe that kind of ruined Darkseid in my eyes a little bit.
Yeah, I would
thinking
agree.
that like, oh, he's like supposed to be this ultimate badass, but then he gets his ass handed to him. I feel like a lot of people got their asses handed to him.
And
like I feel like that Green Lantern.
Yeah.
The Green Lantern in that fight did not carry his own weight.
No.
And like Green Lanterns are supposed to be like the ultimate cosmic fighters, and this one just got his ass whooped.
True.
And it's just like, oh, guess the Green Lantern's gone.
It's true.
You know, I'm very
And with a situation like that, you would have thought that the Green Lantern Corps would have sent a little bit more than one lantern.
Right.
It's true.
That's actually a good point. They were just like, no, you got it. Maybe they thought they'd be such a good fighter that they didn't think they'd need any backup.
Yeah. That pissed me off.
I'm very
like,
interested.
Green Lantern's supposed to be like a badass.
Sarah, when you and Scott get a chance, you guys should look up how Darkseid Steppenwolf looked in the Joss Whedon cut, because I'm very interested to see. Now. Okay.
Cause it's infinitely worse.
It's worse?
So much worse.
Apparently. Oh no! This looks like old school Power Rangers. Okay, so look, this is the old Joss.
Yeah. Guys, unpopular opinion. I think I like the Joss Whedon one more.
Watch the movie, you won't.
He has a lot of mother issues. It's really dumb.
No.
He has a lot.
Right, I believe it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but
okay, look, the new one to me looked really stupid, but the old one, or the Joss Whedon one, keep wanting to call him Josh. Sorry, Joss Whedon.
You can just call him Josh. It's all right.
No. Yeah, no, that literally looks like it's from the 90s. So I've got to say,
it's not good.
That ain't it for me. That ain't it.
Another thing, like, so if you do end up watching the Joss Whedon version, you don't understand. Like, there's no mention of Darkseid.
Oh,
That's what I heard too. Yeah, I heard that was like a big point of contention.
Sorry,
is that there's
Scott's
no
video.
Darkseid, which to me would be even worse because once again I'd ask who the fuck is Steppenwolf, and why is he the big baddie?
And I think they improved on Steppenwolf a lot. They gave him some better motivation than just like, oh, I'm gathering these mother boxes.
Yeah, that's so random.
But like they gave him in this one, they gave him a purpose for collecting the mother boxes.
Good, that's good. Yeah, I mean that would definitely be sucky if so.
Did they do reshoots?
Did appreciate
or
that.
they just?
I have no clue. I don't know. I can't answer.
They did a few reshoots just to finish up and like, just kind of dot their I's, cross their T's.
Sure.
On this movie, but it was just like a few reshoots. I don't think they went like absolutely insane on them.
Yeah,
on them.
Everything was for sure green screened.
Yeah. Any reshoots they did, kind of had to be filmed weird because the actors couldn't film all together.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So they just kind of clipped everything together.
Got you.
And if that's the case, they did like as best as they could.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think that's why it's sitting at a 58.
Yeah.
So 58.5 for effects.
Yep.
Moving on over to music. Yep. We're sitting at a 6.
Oof.
Okay.
The music really killed it for me. Like I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you gave the music a pretty low score.
I'm not gonna scroll through my texts to find this, but I literally texted Scott, "Why is this soundtrack like fucking from Troy?"
Wait,
what is happening?
Yeah.
It was so dramatic.
It was very dramatic,
so,
very dramatic.
It was kind of like
the
slow-mo for me, where it was like, it just didn't match. Like, it just felt so sporadic. It felt like, I appreciate that everybody has their own theme. Okay, fine. I understand that. That's great. But it's like, we don't know these people, so we don't care.
It also makes it a little incoherent because, score drives a film. So it's like, I'm getting this, like, old school Greek sound and stuff.
Yeah.
Switch over to this modern day song that they're playing for Aquaman. I love the Superman theme. I'll always love that Hans Zimmer theme. And that's why I didn't give it a 3 along with her because I legitimately used to listen to that theme like all the time. I just love that little piano music. Oh, I love it so much.
It just felt inconsistent. It felt like they could have at least tied together all of the themes, especially now knowing that there wasn't a theme for each character already. Like just tie like what? It just all felt so sporadic to me.
Yeah, I think they would have had some big improvements had they kind of mixed them a little bit better.
Yeah.
But Zack Snyder was showing off his music video roots a little bit.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, that music video directors. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, David Fincher's a music video director too, and I don't know. Yeah. A little bit of cut above Zack Snyder.
Yeah. I think the scene that kind of showed that felt the most like out of place for me is when Aquaman dove into the ocean.
Oh my god, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh my god.
And then the girl was like singing that song and like grabs his sweater and I watched this with my wife and I was just like, she's gonna smell it.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna smell the sweater.
Yeah.
And then she did. And I'm like, she's living her best life.
Yeah, that was absurd to say the least.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, but who's to say none of us? Like, I would have.
Yeah.
Sure.
Only because I have a major man crush on Jason
We all do.
Momoa.
Yeah, we all do. We all do.
But I will say,
well, you have a crush.
Well, yeah. I have just a normal crush, but I will say, so I had never seen him in. Like, literally, I can't recall anything I've seen him in. And so after this movie, I was like, do we just all have a crush on him because he's Aquaman? And Scott was like, no, that's it 100%. And I was like, oh, okay. Just making sure I didn't miss anything.
You know?
Yeah, which is crazy because he was in a lot of shit. He was in Baywatch for a little bit. He was in Conan the Barbarian.
He was in the Conan. Yeah, he's on this really good Netflix show. I think it's called Frontier or something.
Yeah, he was on Frontier. Game of Thrones. He was in that.
He was in Game of. Yeah, I think that's how
That's how most of us. Yeah, clocked into him. He's awesome though. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, and then I started seeing interviews with him. I'm just like, oh, how you doing?
Yeah, you're like, do I want to get with you? Yeah, I guess I do.
Pretty legit, but I agree that
it's like I'm not saying I would say yes. I'm just saying that I would hesitate.
Yeah.
Caleb, stop lying to yourself.
Listen.
I am absolutely lying. Like
it.
now, I'm just like, yeah, straight up.
Yeah. Gender bending is okay. We can all be with who we want to be with, and if that's Jason Momoa, then that's Jason Momoa, and I think it is for most of us.
Anyone can do whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, scenes like that, and then I'm trying to think of another one that stood out. The Flash one, I think, worked a little bit better, but not much better. I forget what song they were playing with that one, but I
can't remember.
Again, just very music video-esque.
Yeah.
The honestly,
that scene was freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
I actually
themes
started
that stood
tearing
out
up
to me
during
were
that scene.
Yeah. The only things that stood out to me were Superman, the various songs, and then the Wonder Woman theme for some reason. But I think that's a good thing for me, at least. Like, kind of when I can just kind of sink into a sound bed of score.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, for me, that's like a good sign or a good enough sign. And I think I gave the music a 6. And the only reason like I gave it a 6 is because of the. I know. I'm very critical because I'm talking as if like just one thing fucks it up for me, but like the Jason Momoa, the Jason Momoa theme, just like that was just too ridiculous. I was like, I can't, like, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't vibing with
so.
the score.
Yeah, so overall, the music averaged out to a 6.
Yep.
Just because we round down. It's actually like 6.25, but
sure.
Yeah, we round down. Moving on over to costumes. Me and Rose like loved them.
I think I gave him a 6.
You gave it a 6. Sarah gave it a 5.
Yeah. Oh my god, we're mean, yo.
I'm like, this is a superhero movie. That's the one area that these shine.
We're mean.
Okay, you know why? Because, and I literally texted this to Scott. Again, I'm not going to try to find it, but I'll find it. I'll screenshot it to you guys if you want to have it as proof. I texted him, the bat suit looks like a fucking scuba suit. Like, they had a close-up, and it literally just looks like he's in a scuba suit with, like, some indentations in it. And I was like, this is bullshit. He looks so stupid. And I'm not trying to disrespect Batfleck.
Oh, man.
But I was just like, man, this costume is ass. And it just kind of overall, like, to me, kind of looked like everyone was in a costume. And I think they even acknowledged that. They're like, yeah, let's get our costumes on.
Guys,
let's get our outfits on or whatever. And then Cyborg is like, I'm always in costume.
Well, I was gonna say
shitty writing.
Well, I was gonna piggyback off of that and say, honestly, and I don't know if I should have scored. I might have messed this up, but the reason why mine is low is because of Cyborg, but I realize that is it's CGI. It's not really a costume. So, whoops.
We count like character design occasionally when it comes to costumes.
So that works.
So even though like Cyborg is CGI, it is technically like
if that's the case, I just
design.
couldn't get around just how he.
mad
he
skinny.
looked sometimes like not all the
Everybody just
time,
looks
but
like-
sometimes I was like, oh man, he looks bad. Like
They just look like everybody's like the wrong proportions. Everybody just kind of, to me, looks like they're wearing a costume, which feels bad to me in terms of costuming. Like, I love a good superhero outfit, but if it feels like, well, and I do, again, going back to the fact that they called this out and said, well, we got to go put our costumes on or something to that effect. It's like, well, you're just calling out the fact that we know that this doesn't look like part of your natural character.
yeah,
To me.
and I think too that like I mean I just want to say like yeah, Superman looked great. Like, look great.
He looked fine.
No, Superman looked fantastic. That black Superman. No. That black Superman suit was fire. I love that.
It was fine.
The Flash looked decent. Wonder Woman looked great. She was proper.
Fine. Everyone just looked fine to me.
Superman looked the best.
Except Batman. He looked kind of stupid. I'm not going to lie. He looked a little stupid.
I like Batman's costume personally. I just didn't like him as much. Like, I've never vibed with the Batfleck helmet. I'm not a fan of the helmet. I'm not a fan of the short ears. I like longer ears when it comes. I like my Batman with long ears. That's just a personal preference.
Fair enough.
You know, I grew up on Batman Beyond and all that, where the ears were like up to here. So
yeah. Well, that cowl is just them trying to adapt the Dark Knight.
That's the right word.
Returns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were just trying to adapt that, which I think worked. The only thing, like, I think definitely the costume needed work. I think they needed to lighten up the gray a little bit to make the Bat logo really pop.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. I didn't really see the Bat logo ever.
It didn't really pop. The only time I ever saw it is when they did close-ups, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But
I probably would have lightened the rest of the suit to be like a little bit lighter of a gray, just so the Bat logo popped a bit more.
Sure.
And I mean, I guess I would have done a golden belt like Batman has.
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, Batman, his suit like has some issues, and that's like my biggest one. It's just
I concur. I mean,
too dark.
Like I said, my main thing was the cowl. I know that they're adapting it. Still, I just don't like stubby ears. Like, I just don't like the stubby. I just don't like the stubby ears. Like, I like, you know.
That's true.
You know, it loses that intimidation factor for me. But I thought, like I said, my main thing was Cyborg. Like, you know, that just.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I liked how they adapted or how they explained the ears with the Christian Bale suit, where they're like, oh, he has his communicator in there.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, then it wasn't just like, oh, he wasn't just being a bat to be a bat.
Yes. Yes.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
Honestly, that one line of dialogue really did get me.
Yeah. I thought it was a great line. I'm rich. It's self-aware.
No, not that one. The one where Jason Momoa just asked him, so you just dress up like a bat? He's like, yeah. That I did appreciate that, because I was like,
good joke.
Thank you. That is a good joke, and it does play into all of the other aspects of Batman, so.
I'm into it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love little lines like that. Like, I forget which I think it might have been Justice League War. Whichever one that, like, the animated one where Batman is looking into some, like, I think he's looking into some parademons, and Green Lantern comes.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to, Green Lantern's trying to figure out what his powers are. And he's like, oh, you need to go get inside, or, like, be down here before the sun comes out. And he's like, I'm not a vampire. And then he's like, oh.
Yeah.
And, like, trying to figure it out, and he's like, wait, are you just some dude in a bat suit?
Yeah. He's just a dude in a
Batman
bat
just
suit.
turns around
That is
smirks.
Batman. He's just a rich man in a bat suit. If Batman went broke, he would be kicked out of the Justice League.
That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, costumes ended up averaging to a 7.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm about it.
Not bad.
Happy with that.
Yeah. So finally, for our personal grade, That ended up averaging out to a 72.75.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. I mean, yeah, that's a solid. What is that? A solid C.
Yeah.
A solid C. Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid C. So Scott was the one that disliked this the most.
It is true.
Yes. And and it's look, to put up my defense here, like to argue to be my own attorney. I just it's wrong, but I just can't help, because I have such a love for the Marvel films. I just can't help but compare and contrast. I know they're different. I know they're different. I know they're not going, well, like some parts they are, but I know for the most part they're not going for Marvel. But I'm just such a Marvel head that, like, and I love DC too, that, like, I just can't get around and think, like, the formula for goodness is kind of there. You could have done something a little bit better. And honestly, like, I think, yeah, the big reason for me is my 20% score, the character development.
Mm-hmm.
That really just, like, upset me with the film. Like, I just really wasn't vibing. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. I really did. I enjoyed it. I think it got better halfway through once they started talking about resurrecting Superman. I thought it was pretty cool. The little exposition about the mother box and how it can technically turn smoke back into a house. I love little exposition stuff like that where the characters, like, figure out, like, oh, this is what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I love that shit. Like, I love and they made it all sciencey, and like, I love that. So don't get it twisted. I still enjoyed the film. Would I watch it again? Probably not.
No, never.
But I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed a good enough portion of it.
Do I want my day back? Yes.
I'm just very critical. Would I recommend it to anyone?
No.
Yeah. No, I would. No, I would. I would recommend it. I would recommend it. Which is funny because you gave it a higher score. I would recommend it just to experience it, just to be part of the conversation, part of the culture of it. Us talking here right now. We got, like, it's like a mark of honor that we sat through that 4-hour-long Zack Snyder.
That's
true. So, never thought I would watch it, but you guys got me to watch it, and I appreciate it, because now I can talk about it for years to come.
There we go.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Rose, final thoughts?
Just such a huge improvement over Joss Whedon's cut. I'm glad that it finally got made.
Hell yeah.
And I feel Zack Snyder truly deserved this, so glad that his vision was able to finally be realized.
Yeah, he went through a lot, with it was his daughter who died, right?
Yes, yeah.
And he dedicated it to her. I thought it was really sweet, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, I'm very, very happy he was able to do it his way, do his director's cut, give out his voice, whatever it may be, whether we like it or dislike it, he got to do it his voice, his way, and I fully appreciate that. Like, as a director, like, 100%. I fully appreciate like him doing his thing to the fullest extent, doing it 4x3, making it 4 hours. Hell yeah! Do your thing, man.
If I can just quote Scott when he's not being so mean and critical, the fact that he made a film is just amazing.
The fact that they got a single scene done is a miracle.
No, I really do feel that, and I'm glad you got to do it, and you got,
Yeah.
I have nothing to compare it to, so it's a little much for me as a first-time viewer, but I appreciate the input that you guys have all given, and I respect the fact that he got to make the film that he wanted to make. So.
It's a Francis Ford Coppola philosophy that I've completely absorbed myself, which is, on Apocalypse Now, he said, the fact that we even got one scene done was, like, cause for celebration. So it's like, that's how you gotta look. That's how I try to look at it as well, when I'm out of my critic mode of, like, they made a fucking movie, man. Yeah. They made a fucking movie, and it's pretty. And
it got a C.
It got a C
from us.
From us. But they made a fucking movie.
Yeah. All right, so the final Allbros and Super Astra score for Zack Snyder's Justice League is...
Doesn't sound good. I apologize.
a C-.
Okay.
C-. Oh yeah,
Decent.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, low 70s, C-. That's about
I
right.
like it.
Yeah, so it is sitting at a 70.15%.
Okay.
All right, in the 70s, man. That's
Good on you.
that's a passing grade. Like, that's a solid pass. Yeah, like, you know.
My aunt used to tell me no matter what grade you get, if you get a 70, then you did better than 70% of the other people.
And if you get 20%, you get a bit.
You did better than 20.
That's not how it
But
works
she
at all.
would- that's how she would always
That's
phrase
not how
it.
it works at all.
She would always phrase it like that. Like, if you get a B or a C, you still did better than this many. So I think that's a fair assessment. They did better than 70% of the other movies.
That is incorrect math, but we're gonna roll with it.
Sure. She's dead, so you have to honor what she says.
Fair. Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, so comparing this to other C- movies that we've
Oh, no.
graded, this puts it 2% lower than Tom and Jerry.
Oh boy. Oh shoot.
Fair.
Oh no. Whoops. Sorry, that's my bad.
It puts it 1% lower than Countdown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
These all seem
It-
fair to me. so
Yeah.
far.
Hurts me a little bit.
Honestly, both of these seem fair.
Fair. That's fair.
Yes.
This one's going to particularly sting. This puts it how much is it? 0.3% lower
No.
than Cats.
No!
Oh no.
Oh no! Okay,
Sorry.
So
I
I need to
apologize.
see Cats, and we need to have a redo Super Astra
Sorry, guys.
All Bros episode with Cats, and we'll fix this.
I'm gonna send you guys flowers
If you're-
for doing
if you're
that.
If you're down, I'm down. I don't care if he's down, but we're gonna do it.
yeah, I should be sent to jail for making this go below.
You
Cats.
don't understand. You don't know my disdain for cats. So this genuinely hurts.
That's unfortunate. Well,
This hurts.
That
so it goes.
Trust me, I'll bring the
funny
average
enough,
down on
that
cats.
that Cats episode is our second most popular episode.
Yeah, because
As it
what
should
the
be.
fuck was that movie? Never, don't.
That
worry.
really
Don't worry.
surprises
We're
me.
not gonna go there. It's late. We're already going way over your allotted
Yeah.
time, I'm sure. But let's just we'll talk and we'll have another episode.
There we go.
Yeah, guys, it's been awesome.
that-
You don't. This was like no. Stop. I'm gonna be quiet. Never mind. Anyway, what else?
Let's see. It's 2% lower than X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Okay, 2% lower than X-Men Dark Phoenix. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And-
that was pretty
okay.
good.
No, that movie sucked so much.
That movie was pretty bad.
No, that movie was way worse than this movie. No, dude. Oh
Alright, so
no.
we're gonna do a third episode. We're gonna do.
Dude, no, that movie was way worse. I would rather watch this again. Dark Phoenix made me like sick to my stomach.
was really bad.
Like, you didn't watch it? You were asleep.
Fair
I
enough.
watched enough of it.
Oh, that movie was
And
bad.
so we don't have very many C- movies. And so the last C-, this puts it... Actually, 1 second. How much is that? 0.15... Okay, so this I just lost my train of thought.
Gosh damn it, Caleb.
Yeah, so Zack Snyder's Justice League is 0.03% higher than Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Okay, as long as it's higher, I will at least take
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that movie was bad.
Alright.
That wasn't good.
Alright.
I'm not a fan
Yeah,
of
so
any of the
comparing-
Star Wars the Star Wars sequel movies, so I mean, but that one especially.
Yeah, but comparing this to the Justice League,
Let's go.
it is 2% higher.
Cool.
So Justice
Beat it.
League is sitting at a D
Ooh.
is sitting at a D plus.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
So
Beat
so
it.
we
Hallelujah.
a market improvement.
A marked improvement.
Did I say
yeah.
marked?
You
Yeah,
did
marked.
say
Marked
I think
improvement.
you're right.
Is it market or marked?
I don't know.
I'm gonna say market. That sounds cooler. Like,
It is an improvement.
it's an improvement. That's good. You know, and we had, like we said, we didn't see the original, but
No.
you guys have, and you guys
We'll trust
you guys
your
are smiling. So yeah, I guess I did okay. Did better than, because I was scared that the one that was gonna sting was that it was gonna be lower rated than the Whedon one. So glad it wasn't. I was just waiting for like, oh no.
I'm mad
Yeah,
that
luckily
it's
it
better
wasn't.
than Cats,
Yeah.
but we will.
It is what it is.
Not as good as Cats, but we'll fix that. Don't worry.
Yeah. So that concludes this week's breakdown.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Would you guys like to plug or promote anything anything
Yeah.
you want to promote?
We'd love
We
to.
are currently fundraising for our next film, which is called Willow and Lydia, which is about a lesbian couple who are trying to conceive a baby and having a hard time, and so they turn to less than conventional and supernatural methods to try to help them achieve their goals of becoming parents. So we're currently crowdfunding for that and hope to get a little bit more support so we can move forward with that film this summer or whenever it is safe to do so with COVID restrictions. And also you can check out our latest short film that we did last year, which is called Umbra, and that'll be on YouTube.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, you know, like, honestly, guys, you know, follow us on Instagram. You'll get all the deets for the upcoming movie.
For everything.
And you'll get also, like, we have a Linktree link in our profile, and you can see everything we've done,
Yes.
including past films from our website and all that. And, yeah, I mean, you know, donate if you can to the campaign. If you can't, that's okay.
Just share.
Just share it. Follow us on Instagram
At Super
and-
Astra.
at Super Astra Films. That's the
Sorry.
name of the Instagram thing.
I got it wrong.
One word, all lowercase, at Super Astra Films. And yeah, I run the Instagram personally, so I'm always posting the updates. We're doing casting for the short film next week. We're completing casting rather, and we're going to be posting our actors and giving updates as we go along with table reads and all kinds of stuff and fun videos. And yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a good one. Can promise that. It's going to be better than Umbra, I hope.
than anything
Umbra's
we've ever done.
fantastic. This is super fantastic.
There you go.
Hell yeah. So I'll put links to everything that
Thank
they're
you.
doing in the video description.
Perfection.
So definitely go and support them. We love supporting indie filmmakers. So
Yes.
Appreciate it.
let's make it happen.
We do
guys.
We need that help for sure. Absolutely. Let's make a movie. Thank you
Let's
guys.
make a movie.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you. We had such a fun time.
thanks for
Thanks
being
for
on.
forcing us to watch this 17-hour.
I just want to say that this movie was my when I watched it, it was my entire day. So
It was.
it was my entire day. So thank you guys. It's been a great talk. Great talking with you
we had a
guys.
Great time.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on. We really appreciate the
Thank you.
opportunity to help you guys out and
Thank you.
review your short film, which
Yes.
we'll probably be doing tomorrow. So
That
Great.
sounds great.
Be nice. We're sensitive.
Yeah, be
souls.
gentle. We're artists. Our heart breaks very. We have glass hearts. Our
We
hearts
talk a
break.
big game, but we're so gentle and sensitive.
Yeah, we're little punks. So like, just be cool.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you,
We
guys.
appreciate you guys, and we're excited to work together again in any capacity we can in the future.
Yeah, we'd love to be back on whenever you guys are willing to have us.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
talk
Yeah,
about
that'd be
cats,
awesome.
Have you guys
mainly.
again.
Only ever
talk
to
about
talk about cats. So, so we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, it gives me
All
an
right,
excuse
so if
to
you
watch that
guys-
movie again.
Yeah, honestly,
Like, you needed an
you do need to
excuse.
watch it at least 7 more times. I will not talk about this with you on a podcast format until we've all seen it 10 times or more. That's the way it's meant to be viewed.
Anyway, if you guys like this episode, want to hear more of our stuff, be sure to follow and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We're probably more places. I can't talk today. We're probably more places than we aren't. So if you can't find us on one site, go look for us somewhere else. I think the only one we're not on is SoundCloud, and that's just because SoundCloud wants me to pay them more money, and I don't want
Nonsense. Nor should you have to.
Yeah. So you can also catch all of our episodes on YouTube. You can follow us on social media, facebook.com/theallbros. Twitter and Instagram, our handle is @theallbros. You can also email us if you have episode ideas, want to answer our question of the week, or if you want to join us on an episode. We'd love to have anyone on, and that's the allbroschannel@gmail.com. Or you can go to our website, which has links to everything that we do, tinyurl.com/theallbros. And again, links are going to be in the description for everything. So once again, thank you guys for joining us on this episode. We had an absolute blast.
So did we. We had a great time.
So much.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah. So until next week, where we will be breaking down... Oh shit, what are we breaking down? The Croods.
A New Age, not just the Croods.
Yeah, that one. The Croods 2.
There you go.
Till then, this has been the All Bros Podcast. Deuces.
Bye.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye.